Thanks for joining. I got one more poem I'm going to share, but I'm talking about this first poem, Signs of the Times. So I wrote this almost 20 years ago. 2021, it will be 20 years since I have written this poem. And I start out by saying we're living in a world faced with war on multiple mental and physical levels. Black wars against the police. Had them then, had them before that, and we're still having them now. I talk about crack wars in the streets. We're still dealing with drug crises, whether we're talking about crack, whether we're talking about opioids, still an issue. Unemployment at its peak. Look where we are right now, right? Overcrowded prison cells hasn't changed in 20 years. Wars of Jews against Muslims over whether a created state is real. What I was doing there, what I was playing off of the term Israel, and, you know, obviously as a country that was created. So when I said a created state is real, that's what I meant with that. I talk about wars over Wesson with Saddam, referring back to Saddam Hussein. And for some of y'all who are a little bit more seasoned than some of the younger people who may be watching, we know that Wesson was a type of oil. So when I say wars over Wesson with Saddam, I was talking about our battles in the Middle East over oil. American politicians arguing over the difference between smart and dirty bombs, talking about that evolving technology as it relates to the bombs. And just a preview, my next poem that's coming up is going to be dealing with African media images. So if you know some people who want to get in on that, let them know they can chime in as well and hear that one. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know as well. What else do I talk about in here? Arguing over the American politicians arguing over the difference between smart and dirty bombs instead of smart children in dirty schools. And I'm speaking to all of our kids across the world who are so gifted. Malik's in the building. What's up? I'm speaking about all of our kids who are so gifted and talented, but are in an educational setting that is not the best for them. And as you all know, I do a lot of work in schools, and I can go speak at a private school where they have so much in terms of resources. And then I can go and speak to a school in some of our hoods where they're sharing books and have no resources at all. And that's where some of the problems are. And that's what I meant when I said smart children in dirty schools. I'm chilling, Malik. I'm chilling. Hope you're safe out there. I'm feeling like it's me against the world, and I'm starting to get ill without even thinking of Kim Jong. That was referring to Kim Jong-il back in the day, before the sun took over. So when I say Kim Jong, thinking of getting, I like to play on words. You know, I'm a 90s hip hop dude, so you catch a lot of wordplay in a lot of my poetry. So I'm starting to get ill without even thinking of Kim Jong. Though North Korea does have the world spinning up on its axis right now. I'm referring to what George W. Bush referred to North Korea as part of the axis of evil. Wake up, you know. So let me go down to analyze a couple of other lines as well, because I might get killed from the side today, or maybe they'll finally get me and you clear. That's also a play on words as well. Me and you clear, as well as nuclear. So I was putting those two words together with bombs dropping from the sky today. Maybe some religious fanatic is going to blow my behind up in a train station after deciding he wants to get closer to paradise today. That's pretty self-explanatory. So one of the things I also said was, am I going to get hit on some driving while black while driving on I-95 today? And this was a poem that I wrote before Black Lives Matter and some of these other things. And, you know, I'm referring to some of the issues that we have as it relates to our interactions with law enforcement and how that's problematic for many of us. Then I say all this while playing chess if our lives today. Why today? And then for some of y'all who know the Eminem track, Lose Yourself, I play on that when I say I'm just going to lose myself in the movement, the moment, and I own it because it might be time to go. It only takes one shot for cops to release my soul because our community stalked by filthy 5 So that's what I was referring. I took a play from that Lose Yourself from the 8 Mile soundtrack as well. I wanted to do that in there. I said that I got to fight today because there's always just enough time left to be right today. I'm going to fight the system with all of my might today. It's true that tomorrow never dies. And I say living in a world where our young visionaries are becoming so hopeless that they're losing their sight today. I speak to a lot of kids across the country and across the world, and I just feel like many of them have this sense of despair before all of this stuff went down that we're dealing with right now. And I'm still seeing that today in a poem that's almost 20 years old. So many perverted priests and pedophiles out there. Now, for any of y'all know, I'm from Boston. And before these stories with the pre-sex abuse scandals broke across the country, we were dealing with it a lot in Boston as well. Jessa, I see you. Appreciate you joining. And so that's where I'm speaking from as when it comes to that. Y'all might say that I'm paranoid today, but inhaling historical truths has got me high today. So now I'm looking for heroines and heroes to help us stop our plight today. So when I'm talking about, again, 20 years old, but we're still dealing with these drugs, right? Talking about heroines and heroes. So obviously heroin is a play on the drug of heroine, but it's also a play on heroines, looking for female heroes to help us stop our plight today. And I'm also speaking to all of the unsung female heroes who don't get the attention and the respect that they deserve. So again, if you're just joining, I got another poem dealing with African media images that are coming next, but let me finish this one right here. I'm even wondering if all the secondhand smoke finally gave me cancer today, so I'll dial 911 for emergency assistance, but Bin Laden answered today, so that's the play on the phone call 911, but also 9/11 happening. So you have to forgive me for recounting some of the signs of the time that we live in, because ignorance is bliss. I know some of y'all forgot this hell we done been in. Got me wondering if God's really going to be forgiving for all of our sin, like killing each other in the name of religion. So if I die before I laid my head to sleep today, I just pray to God my soul to keep today. I wanted to end with that one because I wanted to take us back to some of the childhood innocence that we have. You know, when people talk about just every single day, just trying to do their best to be their best. And, you know, it's kind of like a little thing that kids used to do when they went to sleep. And so I kind of wanted to end with that because I felt like I wanted to take us back to some of that childhood hope that many of us have lost. So that's my first poem today, Signs of the Time. I got one more that I'm going to share with you all. Again, it's from the book, From the Limbs of My Poetry. I don't know if y'all have any questions or comments about that. I see that the Facebook is going right now. I see that that's happening. So if you want to hop in there as well. If not, I'm going to hop into this next piece. And, you know, I'm taking any questions or comments that you have. Castle fan joined. And for those of y'all who don't know about Castle, they're having a conference this weekend, and y'all can check that out. Join at Castle Fan. It's a youth conference. It's going to be taking place. Normally it's out in California, but they're going completely virtual, so anybody can join. I will be speaking on Sunday in the 9 o'clock hour. You can check that out. But Johan's going to be on that. The Amazing T is going to be on that. So check out Castle Fan and see how it's all going down starting this weekend. Don't miss some of the amazing speakers. It's going to be dance and everything going on. But I want to see if anyone else doesn't have any questions. I'm going to go into my second poem. I appreciate you all tuning in. I really do, for real. So last poem I'm going to do today. It's entitled Pulse of the Motherland. It is entitled Pulse of the Motherland. So if you want to get more information about that, check out From the Limbs of My Poetry. But here we go. So check it out. They say that you can't join Oh, I see B-Tex joined. What's going on? Appreciate it. Check it out. Pulse of the Motherland. Thank you. I appreciate the double entendres. You said they're crazy. Strizzy, because you're the one who's got the real skills out there and the lyricism, so I appreciate that. Let's hop into this poem. Check it out. They say that you can't judge a book by its cover, but it has become appallingly clear that you can judge an entire continent by its media coverage. You see, you can color an entire continent dark with the paint the poorly placed perception when you rely on the media to teach you your Africa lessons. Because I come from a continent that the world thinks is a country. And to put it bluntly, we're all HIV positive until proven negative in the eyes of the media. It's like Africa is either one big safari or Kalahari with seething heathens and no sense of religion and home to animals and animism, because TV renditions of African afflictions have created a depiction of a land of savages where the world's most dreadful diseases exceeds the law of averages. And since American TV only shows you the ravages of a select few nations, most Americans juxtapose the mother of civilization with phrases like damnation and starvation. And so until we take control of our own images, we can't expect to see a true representation of our beauty. Most non-Africans believe that the most Africa has contributed to the world are phrases like Hakuna Matata and Asante Sana Squash Banana, along with exotic vacations in remote locations, because I ain't never heard an American TV news station even say that we're made up of 55 nations. In the eyes of the media, we're just underdeveloped wannabe Caucasians, still searching for civilization if you buy the media's interpretation of who we are. But am I taking this too far? Because to me, the real problem be the WB, ABC, and NBC, which are the real WMD, weapons of mind destruction, because most people, including many Africans, only see what they see through the smart bombs they call TV. And it's not just a newscast. It starts at like age 3, because I grew up watching images of Bugs Bunny dressed in grass skirts and blackface, speaking in African dialects. And every 10 years, there's a new version of Tarzan on the TV set. And I don't know about y'all, but I recall seeing gorillas pass for Africans in those Tintin cartoons. And if you remove Marvin Martian's helmet from Looney Tunes, he's probably an illegal African alien or famine-stricken African child if his belly protruded. And it's these convoluted images that have helped create grown-up policymakers who partially base their opinions of our homeland from films such as Congo, Gorillas in the Mist, and The Air Up There, and we can't forget Tears of the Sun, which left too many tears on the sons and daughters of Africa searching for a positive portrayal of who we are. But that won't happen until we as Africans take responsibility for our portrayal, because the betrayal of our friends from CBS, Fox, and CNN means that we will never see an end to these characterizations of the continent of human creation, which has been made to look like she's on her deathbed and ready for cremation. But we must show the world that our mother Africa is strong, vibrant, and defiant, because the pulse of nearly 1 billion people can never die once we take control of what the world sees. And so we can never comply with pictures painted by pessimists on TV of our homeland, because we, you and me, we are the pulse of Mother Africa, and we must now show the world how proudly we will stand. Yeah, so that is Pulse of the Motherland. Appreciate that. Kate, I see you joined. What's going on? She's also going to be speaking at the Castle Fan Conference this weekend, so please follow them and get down with that. Matthew, I see that you joined as well on the Instagram Live. So that was Pulse of the Motherland, poem that I wrote dealing with African media images. And that's something that's been very important to me, being somebody of Congolese ancestry, born in the States, and having to deal with so many challenges that we face with media images. And so I want to break this poem down a little bit for you as well. Again, if you got questions, you can put those in the comments and I can read them. So obviously I start out with talking about, they say you can't judge a book by its cover. And people always talk about that. That's a typical line when we're talking about not judging people, right? Told you, and I appreciate that. Co-write, I appreciate that as well. And I say, but it has become appallingly clear that you can judge an entire continent by its media coverage. Because a lot of people look at Africa as a country. People talk about going to Brazil, going to Korea, going to Africa, right? So that's what I'm talking about there. You can color a whole continent dark with the paint of poorly placed perception when you rely on the media to teach you your Africa lessons. Most people who I know who speak about the African continent have never been there. But because of what they see on television, they feel like they can speak about it regularly. Ephemeral acts, appreciate that. They think that they can speak about it with knowledge, and all they seen is something like Tarzan, or they grew up on those Sally Struthers commercials. And, you know, that's a serious problem for many of us. See folks turning in on Facebook Live. Appreciate you joining as well. I'm breaking down my second poem here, Pulse of the Motherland. I come from a continent that the world thinks is a country. To put it bluntly, we're all HIV positive until proven negative. So many people, miss you too, BTech79, very appreciate you. So many people have this idea that Africa as a continent is disease ridden. So it's like we might as well already have that disease until proven negative, until the media starts taking up its responsibility and speaking positively about what's going on. We got to do the work ourselves. So it's like Africa's either one big safari or Kalahari with seasoned heathens, no sense of religion, and home to animals and animism. People talk so much about the continent, and people just talk about beliefs and animals and spirits and the like. And, you know, it's just completely disrespectful. TV renditions of African afflictions have created a depiction of a land of savages where the world's most dreadful diseases exceeds the law of averages. I know people whose families made them fill out their wills before they would go visit an African country because of these negative perceptions of exceeding the law of averages. And American TV only shows you the ravages of a select few nations. We're talking about a 55-nation continent, but all you see is war. All you see is disease. They don't talk about places like Ghana, where the stock market has outpaced many countries, even on the Asian continent. They don't show you the skyscrapers. They don't show you the roads, the malls, the beautiful people dressed in regular clothing, right? They don't show you those types of things because this is part of what they want to do. It helps a narrative for them as well. makes a lot of people not want to go there. But for some reason, these companies seem to find their way over to the continent to exploit it on a regular basis. So that's just, real talk right there. So until we take control of our own images, we can't expect to see a true representation of our beauty. I'm just calling out the people to take control, use their media to give a counter narrative. Most non-Africans, trying to have some light humor here, most non-Africans believe that the most Africa has contributed to the world. Phrases like Hakuna Matata, Asante Sana, Squash Banana, obviously playing off of the Lion King, because that, again, people primarily have their images from television, and these cartoon images, they didn't show any buildings in the Lion King. So 100, right, Tilton, right? They didn't show any buildings in the Lion King. So, people are just thinking that, Mufasa and Simba hanging off the cliff of Rafiki, like that's the entire continent. Come on, seriously? So that's what I was playing with, that along of exotic vacations and remote locations, because I ain't never heard TV news stations say that we're made up of 55 nations. Now, at the time I wrote this, it was 54 nations, but now we got South Sudan. So obviously it's 55 nations. But when was the last time you heard somebody say that on a television network? In the eyes of the media, just underdeveloped wannabe Caucasians, still search for civilization if you buy the media's interpretation of who we are. But am I taking this too far? Because to me, the real problem be the WB, ABC, and ABC, which are the real WMD, weapons of mind destruction. So I'm playing off of the term weapons of mass destruction, because most people, including many Africans, only see what they see through the smart bombs they call TV. And it's not just a newscast. It starts at like age 3. What's up, Andrew? I see you. So I'm playing off of how the media also acts as a weapon of mind destruction, of mass destruction, as it relates to African media images, and how that's really a problem. And it starts very, very young. All of us know that many of the images we saw negatively about Africa started at a very young age for many of us. So Warner Brothers, ABC, NBC, they're all participating in this to our detriment, which is a serious problem for many of us. I grew up watching images. How about y'all? I grew up watching images of Bugs Bunny dressed in grass skirt, blackface, speaking in African dialects. Every 10 years, there's a new version of Tarzan on the TV set. How is it that Tarzan is still making a comeback regularly? It's like every decade there's a new version, and it just pits Africans in the greatest of negative vibes. And even if people think some of the newer versions are better, it's still showing somebody who's not a white person who's not from the continent as the king of the jungle and the like. And it's just still disrespectful. I'll never be down with Tarzan in any way, shape, or form, and neither should you. I don't know about y'all, but I recall seeing gorillas pass for Africans in those Tintin cartoons. Some of us know about Tintin, and those when I would watch those images, I'm like, wow, these guys look like gorillas, and they don't look like African people. They look like animals, and that really bothered me. Marvin Martian's helmet from Looney Tunes. I use Marvin Martian because he's very dark, obviously, so I was playing off of the stereotype of Africans, being very dark in the minds of other people. If you remove his helmet, he's probably an illegal African alien or fallen, faithless, famine-stricken African child if his stomach protruded. That's where I was going with that. And as these convoluted images, now look, and it's these convoluted images that help create grown-up policymakers who partially base their opinions of our homelands from films such as Congo, Gorillas in the Mist, and The Air Up There. Now let's just get real now. I meet my background is in the international development space, and I run across a lot of people who are international development practitioners who get into the work with a very negative perception of the African continent, and it's formulated by many of these movies that they're watching. And it's extremely problematic. There's an Aboriginal saying that if you're coming because you want to help, stay home. But if you're coming because you believe our destiny is intertwined, then let's work together. And I believe that many people who get involved in the continent need to do more work and having a certain level of respect for the continent, as opposed to coming in with these misguided stereotypes and beliefs. Because if you come in with these misguided beliefs, you're not going to serve the people in the way that the continent needs to be served. There needs to be a partnership, not a dictatorship, because at the end of the day, some people who've come in with the best intentions have ended up being a bigger part of the problem. So that's what I mean by that as it relates to these policymakers. And if that's you, we got some more work to do, some more reading to do, right? And But that won't happen until we as Africans take responsibility for our portrayal, because the betrayal of our friends from Fox, CBS, and CNN means that we will never see an end. So that's the play off of CNN and CNN to these caricatures of the continent of human creation, which had to make it look like she's on her deathbed and ready for cremation. We will show the world that our mother Africa is strong, vibrant, and defiant, because a pulse of nearly 1 billion people can never die once we take control of what the world sees. And so we can never comply with pictures painted by pessimists on TV of our homeland, because we, you and me, we are the pulse of Mother Africa. And we must now show the world how proudly we will stand. So it's a call to everybody from around the world to get out there and represent Africa positively. And you don't have to be African or of African descent to do that. Just use whatever space that you can do. The Gishwan, I see you. Just use whatever space and skills that you have to be able to do that. And that's how we can help change these media images. So guys, this is episode 1 of Deciphered. I appreciate you joining me. We just announced this yesterday. The poems I'm sharing today are from the book From the Limbs of My Poetry. You can get that wherever poetry is out, Barnes & Nobles, Amazon, wherever you can get it, and check that out there. There's also a DVD that comes along with it. So I'm going to be doing this weekly. Each week I'm going to share 2 poems with you all, and then I'm going to break down the lyrics. I'm going to break down the words. Some of y'all who know my poetry, you can let me know what you'd like to see, what you'd like to hear in there as well. I can, get those up here. I'm also going to drop some new ones. So let people know this is where you can come in every Friday. Apologies for those on the YouTube Live. We'll get that situated for next week. But let people know this is where we're going to be. It's a spoken word show with your boy, Dr. O, getting in on the spoken word. And if you want to learn more, of course, you could always check out UpstanderInternational.com, UpstanderInternational.com. You can see a lot of my work there. Of course, you can go on YouTube and see some of my live performances as well. And just holler at me. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Email me. And some of these poems are already on YouTube in terms of official music videos. I'm just Omékongo everywhere, on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, as well as Instagram. Thank you all for tuning in, and we are going to do this again next week. Peace out.